Hey everyone! Today we're diving deep into the chemistry that powers literally every living thing. We're going to explore the fundamental building blocks that make you, well, you. So let's get right into it. All right, let's just start with a huge question. What are you actually made of? No, I mean really, if you could zoom past your skin and bones, past all your cells, what are the tiny, tiny molecules that build everything? You, me, the trees outside, everything. That's where we're headed today. Okay, so to get how life is built, first, you gotta understand the glue that holds it all together. And in biochemistry, that glue isn't, a sticky substance. It's actually a set of invisible forces. These are the fundamental rules of the game, telling atoms how to connect and build the molecules of life. And rule number one is something called electronegativity. The easiest way to think about it, it's like an atom's magnetic personality. It's all about how badly an atom wants to pull electrons towards itself when it's sharing them. It's literally a microscopic tug-of-war for electrons. So let's watch this play out with, honestly, the most important molecule for life, period. Water, H2O. Now oxygen. Oxygen is an absolute heavyweight champion in this electronegativity game. It yanks those shared electrons from the hydrogen atoms so hard that the oxygen side of the molecule gets a little negative charge and the hydrogen ends become a little positive. Boom, you've got a polar molecule. And that one simple fact, that polarity, is the secret sauce behind why water is so critical for all life. Right, and it's super important to get that there are two kinds of this chemical glue. You've got your intramolecular forces. Think of this as superglue. These are the crazy strong bonds holding atoms together inside a single molecule. Then you have intermolecular forces. These are more like sticky notes, weaker attractions that happen between different molecules. So one kind literally builds the molecule, and the other decides how that molecule is going to play with all the others around it. All right, so we've got our rules, we've got our glue. Now let's head over to the assembly line, because this is where the magic really happens. Life takes these simple, single little building blocks and starts linking them up into these massive, complex chains that do, well, pretty much all the important work. And the lingo here is actually super simple. A monomer is just one single unit. Think of a single Lego brick. A polymer is just a long chain of those monomers all linked up. It's your big, complex Lego castle. It's a ridiculously simple idea, right? But it's how nature builds basically everything that matters. So, how does life actually link these bricks together? It uses this beautifully elegant process called a condensation reaction. Check it out. Two monomers cozy up to each other, a tiny water molecule gets kicked out from their ends, and boom, a super strong bond snaps into place, linking them. Just by getting rid of a little water, life builds bigger, more amazing things. So cool. And this whole building process gives us what we call the Big Four, the four main categories of these giant biological molecules, or macromolecules. These are, without a doubt, the absolute pillars of life, the raw materials from which everything, and I mean everything, is built. So here they are, the four master molecules. The easiest way to remember them: carbohydrates are your quick-burn energy drink. Lipids are your long-term power banks. Proteins? They're the jack-of-all-trades workers, the construction crews, the factory managers, the security guards. And nucleic acids? Well, they're the master blueprint, the instruction manual for the whole operation. And every single one is a giant polymer, built from its own special kind of monomer. Okay, let's kick things off with carbohydrates. Just think of these as the body's go-to fuel source. They are all about delivering energy and doing it fast. But you know this already. Not all carbs are created equal, right? You've got your simple sugars, those are the monomers. They give you that instant sugar rush. Then you have complex carbs, the big polymers like starch in potatoes. Those are long chains that your body has to work to break down, giving you a much slower, more sustained burn of energy. All right, next up, lipids. You probably know them as fats. And yeah, they're the body's long-term energy storage for sure, but they have another job that's just as critical. They actually form the borders, the membranes, of every single one of our cells. And with lipids, structure is absolutely everything. So, saturated fats, their molecules are these nice, straight chains. They can pack together really tightly, which is why they're solid at room temperature. Think butter. But unsaturated fats have these little bends or kinks in their chains, so they can't pack together neatly. That's why they stay liquid, like olive oil. It's just a tiny little difference in shape, but it creates this massive distinction you can see right there on your counter.
Okay, now we get to the real workhorses of the cell, proteins. These are hands down the most diverse and dynamic molecules we've got. If a cell is a bustling city, then proteins are the workers doing literally every job you can imagine. They're building the skyscrapers, running the power plants, driving the delivery trucks, and guarding the city walls. They do it all.
So where does a protein get its power? From its very specific 3D shape. And that shape is built up in 4 stages. The first stage, the primary structure, is super simple. It's just the unique linear sequence of its building blocks, the amino acids. Think of it like letters spelling out a very, very important word. That sequence is the foundation for everything else.
Then in the second stage, that long chain of letters starts to fold and twist. Thanks to some of those weaker sticky note hydrogen bonds, parts of it will coil up into these cool-looking spirals called helices, or they'll fold into accordion-like pleated sheets. The basic local shapes start to take form.
Okay, stage 3 is the tertiary structure. This is the big one. This is where the whole thing, all those coils and sheets, folds up into its final, complex, functional 3D shape. And a big reason why it folds this way is because of water. Some parts of the chain hate water, so they tuck themselves away on the inside. Other parts love water, so they stay on the outside. And that push and pull is what sculpts the protein into its one-of-a-kind, ready-to-work shape.
And then, for some proteins, there's even a fourth level, the quaternary structure. This is where multiple, completely folded protein chains come together to form one giant, functional supermachine. Hemoglobin, the stuff in your blood that carries oxygen, that's a perfect example. It's actually 4 separate protein units all teaming up. But the takeaway is this. At the end of the day, it's always that final, specific shape that dictates what a protein can do. So that begs a really important question, right? What decides that initial sequence of amino acids? What's the ultimate boss that determines the final shape, and therefore the function, of every single protein? To answer that, we have to look at the master plan. And that master plan, it's stored in our last category of macromolecules, nucleic acids, specifically DNA. DNA is the ultimate blueprint. It holds the precise coded instructions for that primary structure, for the exact sequence of amino acids, for every single protein your body will ever need to make. It's the information that kicks off this entire incredible process.
And here is the part that just blows my mind every time. All of the unbelievable, breathtaking diversity of life on this planet, from a tiny bacterium to a gigantic blue whale, all of it is built using proteins made from the exact same set of just 20 amino acids. It's like nature was handed an alphabet with only 20 letters, and from that, it wrote the epic novels of every living thing. The possibilities are just endless.
Which brings us to one last really cool thought to chew on. If all life is built from the same tiny set of blocks, and it follows the same fundamental rules, then what makes a person so different from a plant or a fungus? The answer isn't in the bricks, it's in the blueprint. The unique genetic code that dictates the order and tells those same old blocks how to build something wonderfully, beautifully new.